Well, good morning. It's nice to be back here. And after a 2 week break, it was only going to be 1 week, but things intervened and it stretched out to a couple. So, we're back here, and this scene should look very familiar. So, over the past couple of weeks, I have been up to quite a bit of stuff. Did a bit of modeling and quite a bit of reorganizing of code in this, and so that's what we're sort of in the middle of right now, is reorganizing the code. I'm kind of been moving from one system which was the main system for years now, which live sectioned through our model, and which was a really cool effect, but for a lot of reasons it never quite worked very well. Wasn't very stable and was pretty resource intensive, so I've been kind of backing away from that over the past couple months. And I'm going for a tile-based approach where this whole landscape is based on a series of 20 tiles right now. And everything on each tile should basically appear and disappear as the tiles themselves do. And so I've been trying to build this tile system. So I have a kind of set of interlocking tiles, and the tile system should do two things. They should control the visibility of objects on that tile, located spatially within that tile, and it should tell those objects, when to turn on and when to turn off. So it's kind of a visibility management system, and I need to be able to control the timing of all of that. So this is kind of, in my own head, kind of a difficult thing for me to figure out how to do, because it really has to dovetail with the kind of all the different legacy systems that are going on here as well. So I'm not quite sure how it's going to work. But let's move ahead. So there's a system of 3 or 4 interlocking scripts. Scripts for each individual tile, and then scripts for each individual object in the entire system. So I think, again, this may not be the most efficient system, but I'm just trying to kind of work through and rough out forms and shapes. And I've also been thinking a lot that going forward, once a demo is kind of in place and done, that the whole thing will be rebuilt in terms of at least the kind of architecture of the game. Well, the code of the game will be rebuilt from the ground up once I actually have a better idea of what the game is. And we're a lot closer to that these days. So we're a lot closer to a demo too. I'm pretty excited about that. My big goals for 2021, you might have seen, are to finish the demo, and then the crazy, stupid, potentially life-changing goal of finding a publisher. It's a long shot. I know it's a really long shot. But you can dream, can't you? So I've already got a few things in this tile system. I've got a tile behavior script, which just simply says, is the tile locked, which means it should be invisible, or is it unlocked? I've got a system here called a tile collector, and this has gone through, and it's only supposed to really run once. It's not a runtime, it's more of an editor time object, and it's gone through and it's gathered all the tiles together. And it's gathered the mesh renderers of tiles that represent each space, because there's multiple meshes inside each tile space, but this kind of represents the volume of each space. Those are the bounds of each one of them. These are the names. I know, excitingly named, tiles 1 through 20. And then these are the tile behavior scripts, which are sitting on each tile here. So, right here. So it's gathered all of that together. Now what I need to do is I need to put the script which determines the ID of each tile into the system here. And then I've also kind of pushed the tile system into the overall system, which is kind of controlling visibility of objects as well. So here in the tower manager, so the tower, which is our kind of tutorial level, so to speak, is just this tower here, and it's called an area. Each level is called an area. I don't know why. And then each area is made of several stages. that you can kind of move through, and at the end of each stage an event happens, things unlock, things lock depending on player choices. And that's all set up here in this script, and I added this stage tile behaviors here. And what this will do is the stage will go through and it'll say, now you are the tile behaviors, you're the ones that are locked or unlocked. And then hopefully as we move through each stage, well, as we move into the next area, which is the rest of the church, it'll unlock more tiles, and then we'll unlock more tiles. So that's kind of what's going on there. So what we need to do now is we really need to go into this tile system and determine what features show and what features don't show, and try to get that system working. So that's what I'm in the middle of. That's a lot of talking. Let's see what I've done. Let's see if we can get some crashes. I had some really show-stopping crashes over the last couple of weeks, and some of them I could not track down. So we may get hit by a beach ball of death, show-stopping crash anytime here. Alright, so we're not going to get hit by this one. So right now we can see all 20 tiles are still visible in the scene, and really we just need to have this one and this one visible, which will make some of this rubble look a little odd. But you might hear some sound as that topsoil kind of faded away. And now we have this coming together and this coming together. And I've got to come up with a better way of working with this reconstruction animation, because right now it's a bunch of individual tweens. I've also been trying to work on the object viewer, and that's not maybe been going great. That's okay. So let's rebuild some of our tracery here. Move this one in. So I'm just kind of going through the system. There's another piece of rubble which has appeared. Let's do a Romanesque arch, why not? So that worked nicely. We had the two different systems. We had the system that brought in actual physical fragments that really do fit together. And then we had the system that just built it up from polygons, so that was kind of fun. Now, what's going on? See, already we've got a problem. Okay, so what our problem is that I'm mousing over these areas here which should be buildable, and I'm not getting any options. So what's going on there? That's a new problem. I'm not getting any errors either, so what's going on here? How curious. Well, see, we've already run into a problem. I don't know what that was. What I was hoping to do is to show you a big chunk of the modeling that had got put into the game over the past 2 weeks. I mean, I've kind of done a preview of it on Twitter and Instagram, that sort of thing, trying to keep up with Screenshot Saturday just to kind of stay out there. But I don't know why I wasn't getting an option to rebuild. So that's interesting. And I wasn't getting an error message, and I'm just wondering if that has something to do with the tile system that I'm putting in. So whenever I'm putting in a big new system like this, I always end up breaking something. Okay, so that was the end of that. Yeah, boy. Oh well, okay, so we're wondering what's going on, and I don't know what's going on. Why am I not getting any options at all? What hasn't unlocked? So, something hasn't unlocked in the scene. So, we might have to track that down here in a little bit. I'm pretty certain this is due to my tile system. So, something should have unlocked. These building block behaviors should have unlocked. So if we go in and look at that, it lives in this game object, which lives in this game object, and this game object, and this object should have unlocked. It is unlocked. Is it? No, it's not locked. It doesn't have that there, so why it's not showing up? That's pretty interesting. What else is it doing here? We'll have to hunt this one down. Yeah, look at that. That one's not locked either. Where's it going? Who knows? Well, there we go. So there's already an issue. What a surprise. Yep. So I don't know what's happened here. Why this isn't showing up. Our box collider's on. Everything's on. Oh well. So there's a fun thing to try to track down. The only thing I can think of why that's not working is because of my tile system that happens after I unlock one whole stage, at the end of that stage there. So we'll find out what's been going on, but let's focus on getting only the correct landscape tiles right now to appear at the start of the game. So let's work on that first and then see what happens. It's funny we're not getting any error messages. I guess that's probably because the system's working exactly like it's intended, which is, well, like it's supposed to, which is not what I intend. So that's the joy of coding all this stuff in. So let's go chase down those problems, and let's go see what's going on in our stage manager object. That's what we'll look at. We'll see what we've been doing wrong. What happens at the end of a stage once it's completed. Everything was working so well. So here comes some exciting code. Here we go. All right, so we're in our stage manager. What happens to the stage manager when it completes? Or what happens when the next one turns on? Well, let's look. Okay, so here's our tile behaviors. They all work in the unlock section. So when a new stage unlocks, which is exactly what should happen, let's go into our stages here. So this stage is unlocked. Nothing really happens. When stage 2 unlocks, see, it's locked. So when it unlocks, what is it supposed to be doing and what is it not doing? Nothing right now. So I got through the frame stage part. Oh, I know what's happened. I do know what's happened. Okay, there was another system that's going on here. And it's to do with the time. So there's a couple of things I keep struggling with as I keep building the game. And one is space, as in where in the game space we are and what should unlock and lock according to just kind of physically where we are in the game world. The other one is the time. Every single object has a time span that it's alive, and if the player is not currently within the time span of that object, it won't appear. And I just wonder if I haven't assigned a time span to this stage, which means that what it's done is it's gone and unlocked itself. But since we're not in the right time, things aren't quite working right. So let's see. Buildable start date, buildable end date. Well, we've got a start and an end date going on. what date are we actually running in? If we run the game, what is our current date? Let's take a look. Ooh, it takes a long time to load stuff. Come on, beach ball. Well, our current date is 2500. And the date range of this stage is 2400 to 2600. So, that should be okay. And there are no tile behaviors in this stage when it unlocks. So that's curious. 24 to 26, 24 to 26. So what locks and unlocks on complete? Nothing locks on complete. Stage 2 unlocks on complete. Well, what's going on? What else happens on unlock? Check to see if we're in the right time period. Okay, if our current date is bigger than the start date and less than the end date, we are certainly within that. Locked equals false for each building block. Might be this thing that we're in here where it's calling build holes. Maybe that's what's going on. I should look at the time layer that these things are in. Well, I bet it has something to do with this little bit of code that we're working on right here. So let's go look and see. Let's start the game up again. Let's go look at the layers. So it looks like we did unlock this stage. Let's go see what layer the objects that are just supposed to appear under the mouse, what layer they're in. Because it may just be that they're just not appearing in the right camera layer, which means they're actually appearing in the right place. They're just not rendering to camera because I have an unnecessarily complex layering system. Okay, there's another bit. There's another bit. That's great. There we go. That's lovely. Okay, let's pause this. So this east wall block is this piece right here. And the options of things that should appear are these prototypes. And this prototype appears in time A, which is exactly what should be appearing because our camera, so our layer, time A, should be the active layer there. And our camera itself should be rendering. Yep, time A is rendering. Well, so much for that theory. What else is going on? The mesh renderer's on. There it is. See? That's the piece. Those are the two pieces I'm looking for. Huh. What's going on? What's going on with this? I'm not getting my collider to appear. No, there's my box collider. It's appearing. It's in the layer of both times. Start and end date, we're in the right range. Yeah, our current date is still 2500. Yeah, what's going on with us? Why can't we mouse over that? Huh. That's weird. Wonder what's going on there. Don't know. Something to work on tomorrow. Alright, let's go into the tile system and see if we can at least maybe just get the two tiles that we want to appear. So we should have a tile here and a tile here, and all the rest of this landscape should go away when we press start. So let's actually see if we can get that to work. So what are these landscape pieces? What did I just get selected there? All of these. Okay. So all of these pieces of our world need to get their tile ID script. There we go. Okay, let's see what happens here. We're just going to work on one thing at a time here. When I press play, the my tile name should eventually should say tile 1, and that should populate as well. And really, is my tile active should be false, like it is now. Stop. Okay. Okay, let's see what happens when it starts up. Really has to load a lot of data into memory here. Okay. So, my tile name, tile 1, it's tile behavior. That's really good. And, so, okay, so that's a good thing. Now let's go into those scripts. We want to get it to turn off if its tile is inactive. So I need a start method here, and here's the start method. And if it's not pre-populated, it goes and looks all of that stuff up. Okay. That's very good. There's something else going on here. There we go. So it needs to check right at the beginning, but outside of this pre-populated check. So if is my tile active is false, it needs to run tile locked. It needs to run let's just let it run. I'm just trying to see if I should let it run check tile or tile locked. I don't, well, let's do tile locked this time around. Let's not try to optimize this prematurely. Object.name. no, we don't want that. My tile name. Okay. Let's do another check here just in case. And my tile name does not equal none. Okay, this should turn off, well, it's not going to turn off tiles, but it's going to dump them in the layer, in layer number 20, which is a layer which is invisible to all cameras. It's kind of a holding layer, but objects are still sort of active, which isn't the most efficient thing. And like I said, when I rebuild all of the scripting here, we'll try to make that a little more efficient. But for now, we're just worried about, we just want the visual effect of this tile, of the tiles going off. So if this works, fingers crossed, if this works, we will only see this kind of green covering right here, west of the tower, and right here under the tower and east of the tower. That's all we'll see, and the rest will just be kind of brown dirt. So let's see what happens. Oh, did I broke something. Didn't spell something right. Working too fast. There we go. Let's let this compile. Great. Yes, it's gonna work. Yeah, it works. Okay. Let's see what happens. Yay! Okay, so all of the green stuff disappeared, which is again not what we really want, because it's none of these. So we should have tiles 12 and 13. Their tiles are actually active. Well, they should be at least. Let's go look and see what their tiles think they are. So their tiles are in these all tile nulls. In 12. Yep. 13. They're not locked. Let's see, the tile behavior script on all the rest of these is locked. Right. So, what went wrong? Let's dig this in. I know this isn't the most exciting thing to do, but this is how this works, one little bit at a time. So, right at the beginning, see, I think the isMyTileActive is not getting, well, of course, the isMyTileAct thing is not getting set right at the start. Let's set it right here at the start. isMyTileActive equals myTileBehavior dot locked. Okay. And let's actually, let's get rid of it in this section. Rather, I wanted to do this check right here in the beginning. So if my tile name does not equal none, that will be our indication that we do actually have tile behavior. There we go, that'll run our check. Great, now let's see what happens. So that should force us to actually go and check at the start. There we go. All right, now let's see what happens. As it's loading into memory. There's so much stuff to load into memory and so many little things the scripts need to check at the start. Okay, so the opposite happened of what we wanted to have happen. But that means the script is working. So that's right, if it's locked, yeah. Okay. Here we go. So if the locked is true, yeah, we need to do this. This is the opposite. This is my problem. This is silly of me. More code here. I'll stop that. If my tile behavior dot locked equals false, is my tile active equals true. Okay, let's see if I've got my backwards logic here too. No, I think this one's going to be okay. It's just that initial check. All right, come on, recompile here. Oh, missing something. Line 48, Butterfingers. It's cold in here and I've turned off the heat because the heater is too loud for streaming, and it means my fingers freeze. So fingers get a little bit clumsy. All right, let's see what happens now. Fingers crossed. That's what we want. There we go. We want the green stuff right here to appear. And that's what we're getting. So that is excellent. Okay. Good. Now all we need to do is apply it to the rest of the scene. Okay. So at least just the rest of these things here. So this medieval topsoil stuff. So that's good. Medieval dirt topsoil. Medieval fill going on here. Everything that's active right now in this scene. Yeah, the medieval fill is definitely something that we want to work with. So that needs to get all of these as well. So it gets its tile ID component here. And those don't get it yet. And the next component that's visible is this. So that's going to get the tile ID component. This ought to slow the game down nicely. Let's see. What else do we have? Okay, so if we take away the medieval fill, and we take away the Iron Age stuff, we still got some stuff that we are seeing here, which is the Iron fill, and probably the Roman fill. Yep. So most things in the game that have a physical presence in the game are going to have to get this tile ID script, which is going to slow down our starting up. It's just going to slow it down crazily. So what we're going to do is at editor time, we're going to cache all of this thing where it goes and finds its tile name and what tile it belongs to. We're going to do that right here in editor time with this pre-populate script. I can run it on every single object in the entire game. It'll take a long time to do that, and it'll probably crash everything, but you know, we're a little rusty. We're back from the break. We've already broken things, so we might as well keep going. Just gonna turn this back on. And one more thing to turn on. This one. Okay. So we'll see where we get here. So it's this little is pre-populated flag. So if I run, well, let's take a look actually, because the pre-populate script may not be ready for our tile ID thing. So let's take a look here. Nope, it is. That's cool. I already put that in, so that's a good thing. So I can run my editor time pre-populate. This is going to loop over absolutely everything in the game. So I'm going to save our progress where we are so far. It's going to run over everything in the scene and find every single script that has a pre-populate function on it. It's going to run that function, do whatever that function's asking, and then it's going to change like everything in here. So we may destroy the whole game. So let's do it. Let's destroy the whole game. So let's do all scene objects. I'm just going to drop one in here to get my go button going. Okay, my go button's down here now. But since I have all scene objects run, let's not actually do that. Let's just do it on this one, because I want to just make sure it works. So if it works, we should see down here in this script the tile name, the tile behavior appear. The all children should populate, and the is pre-populated thing should get a tick mark on it. So let's see what happens. Okay, here we go. Fingers crossed. Yay, it didn't work. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Well, let's see who's complaining about that. Tile ID is complaining about that. Line 64 on tile ID, in fact, is complaining about that. So let's look at line 64. So for every object in tile collector oh, because there's no instance of the tile collector. That's not true. The tile collector does exist. It's right here. See, there's the instance. And it's got bounds. Look at all those bounds. Maybe it... that's interesting. Maybe there is no tile collector instance because the game hasn't run. Maybe that's what's going on. I might have to turn that tile collector into an editor script. That would be interesting. Well, that's another thing to look at then. Okay, so we won't try the pre-populating thing because that's another thing I have to investigate. Let's see what happens if we run this right now. What I'm hoping is that we just see green and just 2 tiles and nothing else around it. So we just get the little tower kind of floating in space. And we'll have the rubble. Yeah, that's not running. I wonder why the rest of these objects haven't picked up on where they belong. Well, let's take a look. Okay, it's sitting in the no time layer because it knows that it doesn't belong there. But what's up with the medieval fill? Well, that one exists in 13. That one exists in 13. Oh. Right, I understand what's going on. Okay, so it determined, so it's done exactly what it's wanting to do. This tile ID script determines what tile it's in based on the origin point of the object. And the origin point is right here inside tile 13. I just got lucky that the origin point for all of these is in the center of each object. So, yeah. So the origin or the pivot point, I need to change that for every one of these objects. Or I need to go by the mesh bounds center. The problem is not every single object I put this on. Okay, it's going to have a mesh bounce, so we will just fix that. Okay, so that's a good thing to know. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a bunch of private variables here. Mesh renderer, my renderer. Okay, that should be it. So on start, it's gone and found all its children. Great. And my renderer equals game object dot get component mesh renderer. Great. So it's going to run through and it's going to check. So what I'm doing now is that I'm going to let it say that if the mesh renderer, okay. So we're gonna loop through this twice. So if my renderer does not equal null, do this one loop, else do this loop. We're going to just do copy paste. But instead of checking on the transform position, we are going to check my renderer dot bounds. Yeah. dot center. There we go. My render dot bounds dot center. Okay, so if the X for the render bound center is here, so this is the render, this is the center of the mesh rather than the pivot of the object. So not every object that has a tile ID script on it's actually going to have a mesh because it might be a parent object. But if it does have a mesh on it, then we're going to check the center of the actual geometry, which is what we're into right now. So that's good. So I'm just going to swap these out. Okay. Okay, and we're only checking the X and the Z because we don't care about the Y, that the tile goes infinitely up and down, so we don't care about the Y. We're just looking at the X and the Z. So if it's inside the bounds of if the center of the mesh is inside this, that's what we're interested in. Okay, and now the next thing is I just need to copy this. Actually, this whole thing. And put it down in the pre-populate thing. And I need to put this one in here too. I realized I didn't copy that one in. And then this one needs to be an else. There we go. That takes care of the pre-populate part. Here we go. Compiling. Good. Compiled correctly. Mr. Noisy Truck is driving by. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that's what we want. Look at that. Okay, all of this will go away eventually too. Yeah, look at all that. Yeah, that's nice. Look at that. You can see the different layers of fill dirt going on here. That's exciting. You can see the Iron Age. So you can see the original groundscape. You can see the Iron Age ramparts. You can see the Roman kind of fill and the medieval fill on top of that. That's pretty nice from an archaeological point of view. That's quite exciting. You can see some of our ruins poking out. We've got a few little things that are just hanging out on their own. I've got to move that piece of rubble. But generally speaking, that's fine. All of these individual pieces of the ruins will also get their own tile. That's not bad though. So that's good. So at least I got one goal for today figured out, which is getting this thing to turn off the tiles that it needs to turn off. So that's cool. So that's nice. Great. We'll get this figured out a little bit later. All right. Okay, I'm pleased with that. That's okay. And I'm okay with different things kind of sticking out and it being a little bit untidy and these edges being a bit ragged here. That's fine. I think that works really well, actually. But man, okay, great. Okay, that's good. So I got to figure out what's going on with why my second stage won't let me build. I got to figure out how to read an instance of a scene out of runtime. Got to figure out a lot of those sorts of things. But I'll be doing that off camera, and then maybe by Wednesday I'll have those bugs fixed and we can actually make some progress elsewhere and make it a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to end it here. It was a little bit of a rough one. First one back after 2 weeks, just getting back into the swing of things. Thank you for joining and thanks for listening. And hopefully on Wednesday morning we'll have a little bit more positive progress to do. So until then, I do hope you enjoy your day, whatever you're going to do, and I hope you enjoy your Tuesday, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday morning. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.